My mom's
Okay.
side originally was Buddhist,
Mm-hmm.
but they did convert when she was very young. Um, I've always felt that I missed out on that conversion story and that, dramatic conversion, that come to Jesus moment. I gotta be honest, more than just being a youth or a young adult serving, I think a different perspective is being a pastor's wife and serving. I got tea.
Tell me the.
Tell me the tea. Oh, Pastor Chris.
I can see the face of trauma coming out like. I am here today with my friend Thakseela. I got to know her. What has been a few months? I don't even remember. It was almost a year. It
It
was
was
last
almost a
year.
year ago. Yeah,
Yeah,
in spring.
in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we met and we clicked immediately. Like her craziness and my craziness just clicked all of a sudden. And
Absolutely.
yes, and I just could not wait to be able to collab with you because you do a phenomenal job on social media as well. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Well, no, thank you so much, Chris, for speaking life into me. You've been an incredible friend. I know from the day we first met, I totally connected with you, with your energy, with your fun personality, and just with your, you have a joy for life and just like this yearning for learning and growing. And I just feel that we all have to incorporate that as we continue to grow, like just in life. That's such an incredible spirit to have. So, yeah, thank you for being an inspiration.
Thank you. And it's like I think we clicked because I feel the same thing about you. You know, your energy and the positivity. And I mean, we're not blind. We know there's problems, and we talk about these things. But there's a difference between knowing the problems, giving up, moping, and there is nothing we can do, and say, you know what, this is life. What can we do to do better? And that's what I loved about not only meeting you, but the whole group that we were together. By the way,
Yeah.
her husband is the youth director for the conference where they live. Okay, tell a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. So, I guess how we originally met was we were at a college campus ministry convention sort of thing. Um, and yes, my husband serves as the youth and young adult director for the Alberta Conference, which is located in Canada. It's one of the provinces. Um, and yeah, I'm his spouse. I was a teacher for several years, and I decided to pivot my career, and I started my own business, my own property management business, and I also do freelance social media work on the side. And it's been an incredible journey just being able to minister together and grow and connect with youth and young adults from, and even like older people who use social media because they get to see the content that we put out and it really resonates with them. So that's something that's been really touching my heart to see that we can minister in that way.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people, the older generation, are negative about social media, and I can completely understand the reasons for it. But when they start understanding that social media is a tool for evangelism as well, they embrace it and they have fun. And it's so funny because sometimes they can be even more addicted to social media than the young people. It's
Yeah.
so funny. It's so funny.
Yeah.
But okay, continue with your journey.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your life. Like, where are you from?
So I was born in India. When I was 6.5, I moved to Bangkok, Thailand. My parents were
Mhm.
teachers at an international school there. And so I grew up around teaching and, other students, people from different walks of life, different socioeconomic backgrounds. And when I was 18, I moved to Canada. I went to Burman University, and that's where I met my spouse.
Nice. Wow. So India, uh,
Thailand.
Thailand,
Yeah.
now Canada.
Yeah.
That is one. How about like your religious background? Were you always a Christian? Your parents were Christians, or no? That was a journey.
No, actually, fun fact, I was always a Christian. It's always been so my mom is Sri Lankan, my dad is Indian. So my mom's
Okay.
side originally was Buddhist,
Mhm.
but they did convert when she was very young. Um, my dad's side has always been Christian. Now, the reason I say fun fact is because the part of India that I'm from is like, what's the right word for it? It's like um, not prehistoric. That's it's
No.
okay, it's the part of India that the Apostle Thomas went to, and so a lot of early Christians
Okay.
were settled there, and so just generation after generation, Christianity has been in that part. Christianity has its roots there for early Christianity, so it's one of those spots. So it's been in my family's generation for years.
Okay. So it's different than, I would say, the majority of India, right? That
It's
it's
correct.
yeah,
Most of India would be Hindu, Sikh, um, what else? Y yeah, there's a bunch Muslim, there would be a bunch of other religions, but mostly, yeah, it's quite
yeah.
different.
So you come from an area that was already Christian, so you pretty much grew up with this culture in your family that was Christian.
Correct.
How about you as a young person? When did it become, or if there was a moment, because like some people are frustrated because they didn't have that conversion moment, but it's okay.
Yeah.
How about for you? Did you had a moment when it no longer was your parents' religion, but it became your personal religion,
Oh, that's
beliefs?
such a good question. Um, you know, one of the things I've always felt like I missed out because I was always a Christian, like I grew up in a Christian home. I always felt that I missed out on that conversion story and that, that dramatic conversion, that come to Jesus moment. And so as a child, I've always wondered, like, what does that feel like? And as I grew, I realized that I don't have to have the same story as everyone else, and that's okay. I don't have to have that experience. And for those people who have that experience, that's beautiful. It's a testament to what God can do. For me, what I've learned is there were moments along the way where God reminded me, I'm here, I have your back. Um, and it was never just that one moment. I realized along the way there were points in my life where I was going through some really tough times and even beautiful times where I saw God come through and be like, hey, I'm here. I'm still your friend. I'm still your father. I still care for you. And more and more as I mature and grow into who I'm meant to be, I realize that he's always there. He's always reminding me. And lately, I've been realizing that my relationship with God doesn't have to revolve around, prayer in the morning or prayer at night or prayer, for your meals or like those formalities. It's just literally conversations with God in random moments of the day. I'm sitting on the couch reading a book, and a thought comes into my head about how I feel so blessed, and I say, "Thank you, God. I feel so blessed for X, Y, Z." Or oh, I had a tough interaction. I'm like, God, how do I stay calm? How do I uh, treat this person? Like, despite how they make me feel. And so just being open with God and honest through random moments of the day doesn't have to be an opening line and a closing line to your prayer. It's just literal conversations with God. So that's been an evolution of my journey.
It's so funny that you're saying that because coming from atheism, I had that big moment. I can pinpoint exactly the day that I really started changing, I accepted Christ. But there's a lot of things that people that were raised as a Christian, it's so different to me. It's so
Yeah.
weird to me. But I do understand the need, especially for people like me, to create a routine of the prayer in the morning, the prayer in the evening. But more and more, I am feeling more like what you just said. One thing I don't like I start with my devotional in the morning,
Yeah.
and then I feel like when I say, thank you, Lord, amen, it's almost like I'm hanging up the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll talk to you in another part of my day, but now we're
Yeah.
done,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and more I'm starting to feel more like I don't have the need to be like all formal like that.
Yeah.
But I do understand that for some people, that routine is necessary for their life. So I think God speaks to us in the way that we need. Each person individual. There is nobody that I don't think there is a one size fits all
Exactly.
with God.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I my evolution is like, it's almost like you're sending your bestie a text message throughout your day being like, "Oh my gosh, this food was so delicious. Thank you." Like,
Hmm.
just snapshots of your day throughout. uh, if you think of it through text message, it's very random. It's very, or you send a picture of your food or a picture of
Yeah.
something cool you saw. And I think in that same way is the evolution that I've come to
Yeah.
realize my relationship with God is. It doesn't have to have the formality. It doesn't have to have the amen. It's just like conversations. Yeah.
Yes, and I think the real surrender, when we're giving our life to God. Some people ask me, so, but what it looks like to have a relationship with God. I think what you described in one of the sentences that you said, you were like, when I'm getting mad at this person, I think that is exactly when we're starting to realize that I'm allowing God to work in me. When you
Yeah.
realize that a different day I would have exploded.
Yeah.
But today I heard that still a small voice that told me, "Do you really need to react like this?" And then you obey that voice.
Yeah.
That is the hardest thing.
Yeah. I laugh because I've been there.
Oh, I'm there all the time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, those are the struggles that we go to through,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I want to get into a little more deeper conversation because what I'm trying to do with this podcast is it's bring reality and honesty and transparency because that's what attracts young people today. The older generation, it was more important to say face, but for the younger generation, it's important transparency. So I like to deal with the problems, but I don't like to stay in the problems. I like to go to the solution. But let's look at the problems first.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
How has it been for you as a young adult to serve in the church?
What are some struggles I go through as a youth or young person trying to serve? Um, you know, I gotta be honest, more than just being a youth or a young adult serving, I think a different perspective is being a pastor's wife and serving.
Okay, let's go there.
Oh, we want to go there. Ooh.
Yes, we want to go there. Let's tell me what are the
Uh,
problems.
I got tea.
Tell me the.
Tell me the tea. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm just like, what's TMI here? What can I share that's like,
Okay, make sure you and your husband are not going to get fired.
yeah, yeah, okay. Great advice. No names, no advice. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Hmm. What are some struggles as a pastor's wife? Um, I
I,
think
I guarantee you, there's a lot of pastors' wives that are going through the same thing. So that's why it's important for us to talk about it.
okay, okay. Oh, Pastor Chris.
I can see the face of trauma coming out like,
Oh, okay. Fine, Pastor Chris, because you asked, I will tell you
okay, okay, okay.
with whatever I can share without getting my husband fired.
Yes.
Um, I gotta say, one of the beautiful things is watching people grow in their relationship with God. And so people are a beautiful part of the church community, but also the not beautiful part and the tough part is people as well. And I gotta say, like, being a pastor's wife, one of the things that you do have to keep in mind is discernment. Um, what kind of relationships to have, what kind of friendships, um, where your place is as a support for your spouse. Do you play the role of a support? Do you play the role of someone who's involved selectively? Do you Are you just all in, on stage, playing the piano, leading out in different um, Bible studies. Like, are you like all the way there? Like, you really have to discern where you're at, what your capacity is, and what you're willing to put up with. Um, I gotta say, boundaries are like some of your best friends. Having clear boundaries and not to shut people out, but to know what you will tolerate and what you won't tolerate. Oh, sorry, what you will and will not tolerate. Um, so uh, one of my struggles is was because I told you there was an evolution.
Mhm.
I didn't really vibe with Christianity. I didn't. I loved Jesus. I really connected with that because I went through that phase in my journey where I was really questioning my faith. I wasn't questioning God because there were moments through my journey where I always saw Him, His love for me shine through. And I understand that Christianity represents our human understanding of who God is and, what we can comprehend. But God is so much bigger than that.
And
And
I wanted to interrupt you. I love to have more of a conversation than just like an interrogation.
yeah,
What you're saying is nothing crazy because even in the book Growing Young, they say Christianity is awkward, but Jesus, it's compelling. So I
yeah,
understand what you're saying. Keep going.
yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah. Um, there were times that I didn't want to like connect with a certain denomination. I didn't even. I'll be honest. I don't always enjoy going to church. Still don't always enjoy going to
Mhm.
church. Um, Culture is very important to me. What I mean by culture is like the community, the church culture. That's
Mhm.
so incredibly important to me in my faith. And so if it's a culture of toxicity, um, judgment, um, there's a lack of warmth and there's a lack of the spirit leading people. Um, it's a big turnoff. Now, the argument is, well, you follow God, you don't follow people, so people they're human. They can't fully represent who God is. That is true. That is true. But I have seen
But I
environments.
think that is an excuse.
True. Yes. Yes. What I mean by that, yeah. Thank you for saying that. Oh, what I mean is like I've seen those environments where you can see people. Yes, we are all sinners. Yes, we're imperfect, but you see that genuine effort to make people feel welcome, to make people feel to say, "Hey, we're a community. We're not going to force our religion on you. We're not going to force our community, our beliefs on you. But we're here. Come hang out with us." I've felt the difference in those church environments, and let me tell you, it makes me want to go back. It makes me want to say, "Hey, I'll come hang out with you guys," and say, "Oh, well, this Christianity thing, what do you have going on? You know what? I'll check it out."
Yeah.
I
There
think,
there and there's a few things that is expected from the pastor and especially his wife and even his children, that is very unfair.
yeah,
Because here you are, and I understand, if I understand what you're saying is this: I love Christ, I love the church. It's just some churches are not safe. But as
yeah.
the pastor's wife, I'm expected to fulfill certain roles, to be there and put up even with toxicity.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard this analogy and I couldn't have said it better. Someone says when you work as a pastor in a church leadership role, you're like a politician of a small town. Like think of if that give you some kind of understanding or concept of what it is and what the role of a pastor's wife would be. Now, maybe a politician is like a bad analogy in today's climate, but if but I say that because I'm trying to give a description of the
Yeah, no.
influence.
No, people
Yeah,
hold you and your husband to a higher standard, which I understand. We're representing God, but
yeah,
let's get deeper into this. Aren't we
yeah,
all representing God?
yeah, Yeah.
And do we forget that we are holding a pastor and his wife to a higher standard, and their kids to a
Yeah.
higher standard, and we forget that they are also humans?
Yeah.
Not excusing really bad behavior, but
Yeah.
some of the things that you were saying, like playing the piano or telling the children's story,
Yeah.
I can put myself in this. They still don't see me as the pastor
Oh, I hate that.
because I am a woman. And in my house, I'm sorry, everything's backwards in my house. It's so funny because I am the oldest of 5 raised by a man. My husband is the youngest of 3 raised by a woman. Okay? It's just how it turned out to be. And what happens is I don't know how to cook. I hate cooking. I am a business mind. I am a focus business in the sense of getting things done. My
Yeah.
husband, he cleans the house better than I do.
Can I tell you something?
Tell me.
Oh my gosh. Okay. See, we got along on so many
Yes,
levels.
yes.
We
And
did.
it's like this. Some people will come to my husband and they almost they call him a pastor, even though he's not a pastor. Okay. They call him a pastor because some of the people, and some people actually express that, but it happened so many times that I started asking questions. But they explain that they feel like calling me a pastor and not calling him a pastor, they feel sorry for my husband.
I wish they thought the same way about me.
I
Be-
know. And my husband is like, no, that's my husband's attitude, because my husband I love it. My husband's amazing. He's like, no, she's the pastor. I'm not a pastor. And
yeah.
he hates when people call him that, because my husband's my biggest cheerleader. He's my biggest supporter.
All right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so he's like, people don't get it. That
Yeah.
is her call, not my call. So yes, the pressures, the expectations for you as the pastor's wife, it's they're so high. But anyways, I interrupted you.
Oh
Go
no,
on.
no, no. I totally agree with that. They've never once called me pastor, and of course we can we can guess why. Double
Yes.
standards. To give some analogy, a pastor's wife or the pastor and his family, it's like you're a mayor or a leader in a small town. There's influence, there's weight to what you do. So what you do can't be taken lightly. And even if you don't want, like, I'll say, I could argue and say, well, I'm the pastor's wife, I'm not the pastor, so I shouldn't be held accountable. There is weight to what I do, whether I like it or not. Um,
And I think we are the only profession in the world that husband and wife are interviewed for the
yeah.
job.
Yes. Yes.
For me,
Oh
that
my
was
goodness.
mind blowing when I
Yeah.
first understood that. It's kind of like your husband, your wife's behavior and attitude will say if you have or not this job. For me, it was mind
Yes.
blowing, you
And
know?
and if you're not married, that can affect what positions you hold,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is so
yeah,
interesting. And
yeah.
I don't know about you. So you are ordained. I mean,
I'm not ordained, I'm commissioned.
I'm sorry. Technicality.
Oh gosh, that's a whole nother podcast. Okay,
That
just on
is.
that, just on
That
that.
is. Oh my goodness. Okay. So when they commissioned you, did they have like an interview with you?
Yeah, it's kind of like yeah, it's a preparation for that commissioning. Yes,
Did they call your spouse in?
for this one, I don't remember. I don't think so.
Okay.
Or did they? Oh my gosh, I can't remember.
Well, for ours, okay, maybe you don't have to put this part, but yeah, we
Yeah,
both went in, and
yeah.
so I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
Isn't it interesting? I
Yeah,
like the idea of being the family's ministry, not only your husband, but both of them. Which, by
yeah,
the way, the better pastors that can pastor better is when the spouse is working together. I get it. It's just coming from the business world, not the Christian world. So I understand now in the spiritual side of it why that is important to make sure that families together.
yeah,
But coming from the business world, like HR perspective, it's like, that is weird.
yes,
But yeah, now let's go back to more of the day to day of a pastor and a pastor's life. So some things I feel like it's a unwritten rule, especially the older unwritten rule, not so much of the younger. But this is something that is still affect us. Doesn't matter. It still exists for us, very, very deeply rooted. For an example, a phrase that between pastors I hear a lot, and the pastor that he's doing phenomenal job with his social media. He brought it up, and I was like, yes, that I have a problem with that too. When they say pastors can't be friends with your church members, or pastors shouldn't be friends with church members. So, what can you say about that side of our realities?
What can I say? Mm, I would say use your discernment.
Yeah,
Every situation is different. Um, you I think to be successful, especially in this role, you have to choose who you surround yourself with wisely.
absolutely.
Um, maybe your church culture enables you to have friendships with people in the church. Great. But also keep in mind there's a limit to what you can share. You really do have to pick your words, your the way you do things really wisely, because at the
But
end of the day,
isn't that very tiring?
oh, it's exhausting. It's exhausting.
And that's exactly when I started hearing him talk. I
Yeah,
started noticing my own experience, and that's why I brought this up.
yeah.
Because this is what happens. Let's talk about the church that you mentioned before. Some churches are toxic. It's not a safe place. And I agree that it's going to be hard to be friends there. But when we have this idea that just a blank statement, we cannot have friends at the church when we're church leaders,
Mm,
I think that is
yeah,
so hard for us and
yeah,
not fair for the people in the
yeah.
church.
I what I can say to that is we are humans. We're meant to have connections and
Exactly.
bond with people. That is a human experience. We need to belong. We need to have community. With the position of leadership comes the understanding that there are different levels to friendship. So, understanding who falls in what level, and to not be offended that not everyone is besties with you. Not everyone
Mhm.
has to be your best. Your church member, and I say this cautiously, every situation is different. Not every church member has to be your bestie, and that's
Absolutely.
okay.
Mhm.
But it's important to show connection and be friends with them, um, and show that you genuinely care about them. Be a friend to them, and they can be a friend to you as well. Um, discernment is an important part of how much you can share and what level of friendship you have.
Oh, absolutely. There is that issue too, because a pastor will find out a lot of the people's life. And imagine if he has a best friend and he shares with the best friend what is happening. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about
Yeah.
more in the sense of if the church cannot be your family, your friends, the people that you
Mhm.
spend time with,
Yeah, yeah.
the life of a pastor, the life of a pastor's family is very lonely.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we are there, and it becomes a um burnout situation,
Yeah.
because when you have only it's between you and your wife, the
Yeah.
husband and wife, they can only talk among themselves, they cannot make friends, they cannot share the burden becomes way too heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a question to ask you, and I know this
Sure.
is supposed to be like your interview. I'm so curious.
Sure.
Did you find that once you moved from the position of a pastor to a position of an administrator,
Mhm.
you did that, like, what did that do for some of your friendships?
I think my case was quite unique
Okay.
because not the person, the church that I had before,
Mhm.
it was a church that I planted.
Yeah.
And everybody that came to that church became like literally my family. And sure, we have discernment. I'm not going to share, even though they are my family. And we have to understand, I'm the oldest of five. So right here is almost a church. Anyways, it doesn't mean because we are a family, they're my brothers and my sister. It doesn't mean that I tell everything that one sister said to my other sister,
Yeah.
So the same thing in a church. That church became my family. And they came to a church already knowing that I was a female pastor, already knowing who I was. And we went through a lot of struggles together. We fought together. And when I left, I literally felt like I was abandoning my family because they were everything to me. I accepted this position. By the way, for those listening, I am the young adult director for my conference now. And I love the idea because um, I love working with young adults.
Yeah.
So I thought, this is great. I'm going to work with my young adults. I didn't understand how much this position was more administrative, not so much dealing with the young people directly, you know? And the reason why my situation is a little different is because, first of all, I had an awesome church that loved me as a family. So leaving them was the hardest thing in the world. Not
Mm.
all pastors have this experience,
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other part was because I'm in an administrative position that makes me travel a lot, go to different churches a lot. I feel extremely lonely because I wasn't able to make these connections. So for me, it was very different.
Yeah. Well, I would have to say the same.
Mm,
Um, Now we didn't plant any churches, but we were
mhm,
involved with several churches, and along the way, you build friendships and connections. And but I feel like once you move from that position of pastoral family to like administrator role, it just changes the dynamics. Not because like you still keep in touch with those people, but building connections is a little bit different. It looks different because you're visiting multiple churches and you're building community with multiple different people. So it's really hard to just go and get that one-on-one with those individuals at church that you would when you're a pastoral family. So
mhm,
if
mhm.
yeah, if that explains it. But
Yeah, no,
yeah.
it makes absolutely sense, and that's exactly what I'm feeling, And my how do you say my there's a word for like the way for me to bridge this gap or to filling this void that it's been having in our lives because I don't have that connection with church anymore.
Yeah.
Is this? It's my online ministry. This was the way that I found to connect to young people. So going to the streets and talk to different young people, and for me, that became my hands-on ministry.
I love it. I
You
love it. I
know,
see it.
yeah,
I see it.
yeah, and I absolutely love what I'm doing on this side, and it's funny because it's like this is just a side hustle. This is not my actual job. I spend a lot of time doing this, but this is something I do on the side. You know how it is with your husband and all of the
Yeah.
work that you guys do. That is a full
Yeah.
time job that it takes, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, 40, 50 hours a week. And then we still
You
do
know.
the side, the social media on the
Yeah.
side, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. So tell me a little bit. We started talking about young people and connections, and you said like the importance of connections. Because for me, you and your husband, for me, you guys are still so young. I still see you guys as young adults. But you are serving as young adults, you are working with young adults. How has that experience been for you guys?
It's it's been incredibly rewarding to see young adults. I don't know. I feel like when I was a bit younger, like people didn't really want to be involved in church. But I feel like something's different now. I feel like people want to be part of community. People want to make the effort to check church out. Now, I also understand church has evolved and churches are more, well, most of them, or at least the ones that I'm aware of.
Some of them.
Some great word, some, not most. Some have made the effort to um to adapt with the times.
Mhm.
Some have not. And typically those are dying churches that have not made the have not caught onto a movement or y- have that awareness of what's going on in society.
Well, I'm gonna share something with you so you can continue. It goes by the different areas. And this is one of the things that I want to talk to you guys because this is not everywhere. When you are in an area that is been very positive towards young people, you
Yeah.
start feeling that everywhere is like that. But as I'm traveling a lot, I'm seeing that that's not the case. And I wanted to know, what do you think you and your husband are doing different to promote this and to make this environment that young people want to be part of the church?
I would say building community is one of the biggest things that I've seen. So we started this thing called Saturday Cafe.
Mm.
And basically what it is have you seen it?
I saw some glimpse of it, you know. I
Okay,
barely have time to actually use social media.
okay, okay. Well, I will tell you what it is.
Tell me.
So Saturday Cafe is basically what is it? Let me read the description off. It's
J-
like a you turn your home into a cafe. You turn it into a third space, because you have your home, your school or your work, and then, we need church is typically a third space, but it's not always a third space that everyone wants to be on board with or everyone feels safe at. So, as young adults, when you're trying to meet up with friends, you haven't caught up in a while, you say, let's go to a cafe, let's catch up, let's go out to eat, let's go get coffee, let's bond. So what I did was I basically said, let's turn our home into a cafe on select Saturdays, everything, but it's
can
better.
I steal the name?
Absolutely. Everything is free. So it's even better than a cafe. Um, absolutely. So what we do is we just basically turn our home into a cafe. We serve fancy drinks. It can be whatever's popular and in those coffee stores and Starbucks or whatever. You have all these cool drinks, and we basically recreate them with homemade syrups and yeah, serve them to the community. We set up our place like a little cafe with those tables, chairs.
I
Um,
love it.
thank you, thank you. Because I'll tell you really where this idea stemmed was, like I said, I didn't always connect with church. I
Right.
went and I appreciated my time at church. I appreciated the music. I appreciated the message. Appreciated seeing people I haven't seen in a while. But I didn't always connect with church, if I'm being completely honest. And I can tell you though that I was aware, like from what I see, like early Christianity didn't start in a church. It started in people's homes around food. They were bonding, they were studying um, their faith and connecting with people. And I feel there's a lot of connections that can happen over food and in small groups. And I was like, I vibe with that. I
Yeah.
connect with
Yeah.
church. And I said, if a church was like that, like in someone's home, there was some food and we just got to share our faith and chat, I totally would connect with that. And I was like, instead of waiting for someone else to be that person for me, um, let me just do it.
I
Let me
love
just
it.
start it. And so I started Saturday Cafe, and yeah, it's been such a beautiful ministry tool because I love that we aren't shoving our faith onto people. Like people can just come and find community. And if they want faith to be a part of their journey, they can question deeper, they can ask deeper, we can have those conversations, but it's not forced on anyone. And our part two, or like branch off from Saturday Cafe, is something that we call the Breakfast Club, where we meet in the mornings, not every morning, but on the weekends, like Saturday, Sunday, and we have breakfast with a
I
side
love
of
it.
Bible study. So when you come to that, you're coming specifically for Bible study. You don't feel, blindsided, like, oh, what's this thing? Oh, now they're talking about God. Like it's
Hmm.
literally you're coming, it's Bible study, but Saturday cafes more for the community. And another thing that we like to do is like to make sure that the balance of people there is not just Christians. because it's
Mhm.
not just a Christian hangout spot.
Mhm.
It's supposed to be for the community. It's supposed to be ministering for the community, but also without the expectation that people are going to be converted to your faith. So it's literally like we try to make sure that there's 50% people who don't normally go to church and 50% of people who do go to church. And
I
it's
love
just
it. I love
we need
it.
we need to be friends with
Mhm.
everyone.
Yes, yes. How often do you do it? And I'm asking details
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I've been praying to God to help me come up with something, you know?
Well,
We are pretty much in the same position because your husband is also a director. The challenge that I have is that I travel a lot. So I ended up never doing anything in my house because I'm like, I'm never here. How often do you guys do this?
so we do it on select Saturdays. So we even have an Instagram page
Hmm.
dedicated specifically for Saturday cafes.
Mm.
And
I
what
don't think I'm following that. That's probably why I don't know much about it.
okay, okay. Well,
Go ahead.
we'll connect with the details after, but the
Hmm.
Instagram handle is the dot Saturday dot cafe, the Saturday cafe with dots in between each word.
Love it.
Um, like we do it select Saturdays. So sometimes
Mhm.
it's like once a month. Of course, we try to work it around our schedule. We do have a packed schedule in terms of weekends. We're visiting different churches throughout the province. We're also traveling out of the country for meetings, stuff like that. But whenever we can, we open our home. And the incredible thing is we didn't want this just to be a Thakseela thing or a Rob and Thakseela thing. We wanted it to be something that could be duplicated.
Mhm.
And so, I've been hosting Zoom webinars on how to start this. And we've seen at
Love
least
it.
three other Saturday cafes pop up in Alberta, and people in BC are British Columbia are also
Mhm.
looking at starting one too. And now I'm hearing that you want to start one too, and I'm
I'm
so
gonna do something. I'm gonna do something.
but it's so incredible, like having that
And then
culture.
the Sunday morning, how often do you do that?
Um, it's like once a month, once every other month. It's not as regular. Like Saturday Cafe is a little bit more consistent. The
Mhm.
Sunday one, I think maybe one of the better things to do is like have someone take that over due to scheduling.
I get it. I get
Yeah,
it.
but
Yeah.
it's
Right now, what I've been praying to God is because as I do these interviews and I do a lot of traveling, but I'm very like intentional on social media. I'm meeting people all over the place
yeah,
and
yeah,
in different areas that they wouldn't be able to come to my house.
yeah,
So I am thinking about starting a church online. Maybe it can be the Saturday cafe online.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. One of the coolest feedback that we've been getting from a lot of people is like, I could totally see this being a church. I could totally see that of
exactly.
it. Yeah. And we went to actually Crosswalk Church
Mm,
in Redlands,
love
California.
it.
I love it. And the pastor there was like, this is how church plants start.
Hmm.
Um and yeah, that's the common thread. So this is we're on to something here.
Yes.
I feel excited about it.
Yeah, and the research does show that young people are coming back to church, but the concept of church is different.
Yes.
We have this idea that church, like the idea that the expression from the research is that young people are looking more at a church as a living room than a
Uh
concert. Not they are against the concert because we have been trained to, especially on our worship service, the excellency, and I think we're still going to do things in excellency. That is still important, but they want a more of the cozy vibe. They want more of the home vibe. And yes, sometimes we get together for the big and excellent concert style, but it's less as pews and more as couches. You
yes.
know, because
Yeah.
what happens is they need to create a connection. And by
Yeah.
the way, I have advertised this book so many times now that I think I should start getting a commission. This book here, the other half of church. He's a pastor, but he's talking about as a pastor experience, but also talking about a neuroscience research, how we have done church in a way for the left side of the brain. for so many years, is the reasoning, is this Bible scripture, is the learning, and everything is on the left. However, the right side of the brain, which is the emotion, the creativity, works like 100 times faster. So when we are sharing something, the emotion and the creativity tune in and analyze everything much faster than the left side is processing. So if we wanted to engage people, especially young people, we need to do church differently.
Absolutely.
And that is one of the things, is creating more a home. It's creating connect. Actually, what he says is that if we want to not die as a church and be able to serve both a whole brain church, not just a part of the brain, and lose half of the people, the first thing is connections.
You
Connection is everything. It's everything. It's interesting, like for the older generation, like the boomers and the Gen X. I am a Gen X. You would come and give the 52 reasons why whatever doctrine that we believe.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And you show them it makes sense, they accept, and they change because of knowledge.
Mm,
Okay. Different values, different generation. In this generation, even though I do believe the brain always work the same way, for this generation, yes, I understand,
yeah.
but so
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
yeah, so until they experience, they usually connect with you as a person, they usually feel loved, they feel like somebody cares for them, then they ask, Thakseela, what do you believe? Like, first they love you as a person,
Yeah.
respect you, trust you, then they want
Yeah.
to know, what is your truth? Why do you
Yeah.
live like that?
Yeah. What is that quote? Before you can, revolves. Okay, it will come to me when it's
I
time.
know what you're talking about. They need to know that you care.
Yeah, like before people need to know what you want them to do, or like which way to go. They need to know that you care as a person, that
Hmm.
you care for them genuinely. Because why would I take advice from you if I don't know that you care?
Hmm.
Um,
Exactly.
and yeah, I think the whole concept of Saturday Cafe and why we're kind of franchising it out is because we also want to encourage people to see it as like, hey, I might not even be the pastor of a church, and I might not be the youth leader, but I can take initiative and open up my home. I don't have access to a big fancy building or a third space, but I can turn my home into that cozy, safe third space that's safe for my community, and I can be a leader in my own right. And
Absolutely.
that's one of the things, is empowering young leaders to take charge, and you don't have to be a church leader. In fact, we encourage you not to do it in churches. We
Mhm.
encourage you to do it in people's homes, and of course, we understand not everyone's home. They might not be able to do that for various situations, but um,
There's
you,
somebody that will be able to do it, you
yes,
know.
yes,
Mhm, mhm.
yeah, yeah, exactly,
And I love that the Saturdays afternoon, the Saturday cafe is not with an agenda to make you become part of my church.
yes,
It's like, I just wanted to connect with you. I just wanted
yeah,
you to know that I care for my fellow humans.
yes,
They don't have to believe exactly as I do. I think this idea that I'm just going to socialize with people that think like I do is very selfish.
yes,
And as long as we respect each other, there's so much that we can learn. The interviews that I'm doing on the streets have been such a mind opening for me. I talk to such a different kinds of ideas, but then we can still become friends. Some of them are still talking to me online, send me DMs, and as some ask for prayer, some just I went out with a few of them to have brunch.
wow,
And for me, that is the reward, like making
yeah,
connections.
yeah.
And then, like you said, like you have the breakfast, I have Bible studies at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. So if they want to go deeper, if they want to know more on their time, not pushing, just love, care for them, and show them, hey, if you ever need somebody, I'm here,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
I
know,
love that.
that
Love that.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Wow, we covered so many things. I think a lot of our topics, we just need to go deeper in each one of them.
We need a podcast for every single question that you asked, right?
Yeah, just the two of us, just keep going because there's so much to unpack,
So much.
but yeah, but this was, I think, a good introduction to begin.
Yeah, yeah.
because I literally, what I wanted to do is, like, as I am going to the streets, and even the tea talks that was done in the studio. By the way, this is a continuance of the tea talks. I want to use
Okay.
this for tea talks season 3. Okay, but less of the how do you say, like,
Production.
production, and more of just a natural conversation,
Yeah.
um but this is exactly my idea. I've been going around and I'm talking to a lot of young people, hearing their struggles. Now I want to invite leaders to say, hey, how can we help these young people, you know so I want to hear from young people, but I also wanted to bring answers to their struggles, and also to help them have hope, to show them, hey, because some of them feel completely alone in their churches. They feel like there's not other young people, and the older generation don't open up to them. Oh, by the way, there was something that you did say that I was going to mention, but we ended up getting distracted when you said that they involve young people with like reading the scripture or
Yeah.
singing, but that's not enough. Talking to young people, one of the things that they told me, which broke my heart, is when you're little, that works, but when you
Yeah.
become a teenager and a little older, they were like, if you ask me to sing or read a scripture or clean the church when it's needed, but you do not give me a space at the table, if you not include me in making decisions,
Yeah.
I don't feel like you care for me, and that's why you give me those things to do. I feel like I'm being used. Oh, that broke me. I was like, it's
Yeah.
true. It's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. It's true.
You know,
I can understand that. Yeah.
how many times we make a meeting, we do a committee, and in this meeting, we decide what we want to do for young people. Then we come to them and say, this is what we're doing for you. And they look and like,
Okay.
how about, this is not what we want, this is not what
Yeah.
we need, we were not asked to be part of the decision making. It's like we're
Yeah.
giving answers to questions that they didn't ask,
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
know and then we question why, we blame them. Oh, young people don't care about God, they don't want to be involved. Well, there is a reason why they don't want to be involved.
Yeah. Yeah. Like one thing that yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying, Pastor Chris. Like some churches, you look at the leadership team and it's everyone past 50. And I'm not saying that we completely eradicate that age group and then go the other way and have
Please,
like,
please don't, because then I'm gonna be
no,
eliminated.
no, 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 no. Pastor Chris, you are a cool Gen Z, Gen X. You're very cool. I gotta tell you that. Yeah, you're very inspiring. Um, but yeah, like I think what it is really having that balance of we're all together here. Let's have someone in their 80s at the table. Let's have someone who's in their teens at the table. Let's have someone in their 50s and 40s and 30s. Let's make sure all the different generations and age groups are represented for the decision making, because I think that's such a beautiful concept rather than going completely one way or the other. And yeah, one thing that like we we tried to make sure at one of the churches we were at is making sure that we had some young faces on the leadership team, and not just, oh, token young person, just check like diversity check. No, no, not the token young person, but young people who actually, you could see that desire. I want to be a part of this. So, we
And
made
then
sure that,
having the older people also listening to what the young people are
yes,
saying.
yes. And, we made sure that one of the elders at the church was, she was 17 years old. We got her a position, got her
Amazing.
nominated, and she's an incredible leader. The other one was in their 20s. He is also an incredible leader and influencing the young adult community. And let me tell you, the difference that those two people made to the way decisions were made, it's beautiful. It didn't go backwards. It went forwards. In fact, it I see the difference in that church. There's this life, there's this energy, there's this um yeah, it's so cool to see because sometimes it's people think like, "Oh, get rid of all the old and put in all the young." No, no, because we young people, we need guidance too. We don't have all the knowledge, and sometimes with only young leadership, there's this like overzealous, like, "Oh, I can do this, I can do that," and then you learn a really hard lesson, and you're like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't have done it that way." And so I think it's really a combination of all the age groups need to be represented,
And
and we.
that and that is a very important point, because when we start looking at it, when somebody's overzealous, when they are trying to control, what is actually happening there, it's fear of losing something. And the fear usually is, and I can completely understand where that's coming from, because what happens is we are like, this is my identity, this is my church, this is
Yeah,
who I have been for so long. Like, they connect their values, we connect our values to what we've been doing.
yeah,
So if a young generation is coming and they're going to put me to the side, so what is always happening is the fear of loss.
yeah,
The young people are coming and they're going to put us to the side,
yeah,
or I'm not going to be valued anymore because I'm going to lose my position, my title, my life, my purpose, my meaning to life.
yeah,
Because that's a lot of our leadership, that pretty
yes,
much, especially after they retired, they dedicate themselves for so many years to the church, and then it hurts them so much to think about that they're going to have to give up. But
yeah,
if we change the paradigm, if
yeah,
we start looking at it, instead of, we first of all, we need the older generation,
yeah,
period.
yes,
But instead of seeing the younger generation as a threat, or the young generation as unholy, unconsiderate, we can't rely on them, they are so much troublemaker, how about, this is a special gift from God, that God put in my hands to
yeah,
help them grow, to help them develop. And my job is not to be here just to serve God. My job is to make disciples.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
one thing that I make it very clear when I'm doing my growing together trainings, I go all over, pretty much a lot in where I am in the Carolinas, but also in other places of the world, North America, pretty much.
yeah,
One thing that I try to make emphasis is that sometimes, and this is mainly for the older generation, you are working so hard for the church,
yeah,
you have 300,000 positions and jobs that you're doing. And I look at them, if you're not making disciples, you're not doing God's work. And they get shocked and they get upset. And I can see the
yeah,
faces. I was like, what was the Great Commission?
mm,
The imperative verb there is not go, is make disciples, by going, by baptizing, by teaching, by doing everything else.
yeah, mhm.
So if you're serving the church, working 40 hours and doing all of that, but you're not making disciples, you're actually not doing God's work.
You're
And
suffocating.
yes, I am not saying this to hurt them, because they need to understand how much, especially as a pastor, having somebody that is that dedicated, you know how much we appreciate.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
appreciate, it's kind of like this. For me, I have kids. What is easier, for me to just do the dishes, or to spend 100 million hours teaching my son how to do the dishes properly? Oh, it's much easier for me to do the dishes, let's be honest. But am I preparing my son to be a, how do you say, it's not useful, it's like to be a proactive member of
society.
society?
Yeah,
Exactly. If I don't teach him how to do these basic things, so when us church leaders stop looking at young people as, oh my gosh, they don't do anything right, like, and being negative towards their journey, we can help them grow, and that is fulfilling the Great Commission.
yeah, yeah. 100% amen to what you said. Literally.
We're getting to the end, and I am sad because this conversation was so
It was.
good.
I feel
we
like we have to do like all the questions that you ask, be like, okay,
Yes,
okay, let's just focus on this one and do a whole thing on this,
just
and then
on
a
this.
whole
Yeah.
on that, and talk
Yes.
about being a pastor's wife and
Yes.
women
Yes.
serving and oh,
Yes. All of
we
that.
we can chat.
But for now, so this is not this is only a podcast and not like 100 podcasts in one. We're going to stop here, but I just have one last question. Is there anything else that for this podcast you would like to share?
Um, gosh, like you said, we touched on so much. I don't even know what to focus on, but I would say to any young person listening, I think your journey was made just for you, and there's something beautiful that you are going to learn and experience through this. Other people's story don't have to look exactly like yours. It doesn't have to be such a dramatic story. It could be a very simple moment where you realized that that one day when you felt like you were completely alone and no one in the world saw you and no one saw where you were. God saw you and God sees you. And yeah, your journey is someone told me this. Your story is not wasted. You're going to impact people. You're going to impact lives, and it doesn't have
Yes,
to look like everyone else's. So
absolutely.
that's what I have to say.
Thank you so much. This was great.
Thank you.
And I hope we can do this again.
Absolutely. I'd love
Yes,
to. I'd love to. I had so much fun with you.
me too. Me too. It's always a pleasure meeting with you and talking with you. So this was really great. Thank you for your wise words and for everything that you're doing. You and your husband are creating a community in a way that reach young people today. So thank you for what you guys are doing.
Thank you, Pastor Chris. We appreciate you.